Today we'll discuss a topic that I may as well get killed for. Actually, I think I should go reserve myself a spot at the local graveyard just before I get into this video. However, on the internet, I see way too many people going on about how Franklin from GTA 5 is a bland character, and today I'll break down why I personally don't agree with that statement and why what people call bland I prefer to call as simple character traits. For starters, we'll talk about his backstory and story in general. Unlike Michael, Franklin is not haunted by his past, and arguably so, we do know the least about his background and his backstory, and the game's emphasis sadly isn't as much focused on his story compared to Michael's and Trevor's, which is a thing that I say was probably a bit of a mistake on Rockstar's part, but strangely I do feel like that kind of fits who he is. You also have to realize that Franklin's whole story is leaving the old life, with Stretch and all of those other guys that kept him from doing and achieving the stuff that he wanted to during his lifetime. Hence why I think that there wasn't too much of an emphasis put on his backstory or his story in general, but I also feel like people, even with this aspect, complain way too much. I mean, it's not like he doesn't have his own story. He has a backstory. We know how he met Lamar, what they did together, how he always wanted to be a big-time criminal, how he grew up. We also know about his relationships with other people in his life, such as his aunt, Lamar, Stretch, Tanisha, and so on. So clearly Franklin does have a backstory. We know what kind of person he is. I also feel like him being a lot younger compared to Michael also contributed to him not having as deep of a backstory as Michael did. I mean, Michael was in his late 30s and the most wanted bank robber of the US. Also, Michael clearly was, from a story narrative writing perspective, whatever you want to call it, the main character of the game, let's be real. And it's not like Franklin then also set up a deal with a corrupt FIB agent to sell out his entire crew and leave a life of bank robbing behind. And even back in the prologue, Michael was significantly older then than Franklin is in the main story. I mean, Michael is what, in his late 30s, and Franklin's only like 25 when this story takes place. Like, think about Michael at 25. Michael was probably still relatively small time back when he was 25. He did his first robbery when he was like, what, 20 or 23? So at 25, he was probably not the most wanted bank robber of the US, not by a long shot. I mean, maybe he just met Lester recently at that point, but who knows if he even knew Trevor back then. Real quick, if you enjoyed this video so far on this topic, leave a like on it and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 3K subs before GT 6, and also feel free to check out my channel memberships. That'll help us out a lot. Thanks. So we discussed why Franklin doesn't have as extensive or as deep of a backstory as Michael. That simply put, he didn't go through as much shit as Michael did by this point in his life, which leads me to my next point. And people like to say that Franklin's just bland because he's not as expressive, if that's how I could maybe put this thing together, as Michael or especially as Trevor when you compare them all, but I wouldn't really call that bland. Instead, I would call this a character trait, like I said earlier. Why? Well, I think that in some of these intense situations the three find themselves in throughout the course of the game, such as before the Blitz play heist or during the big one or any other tense situation that you can think of that these guys find themselves in, you're never gonna see, or maybe not never, but very rarely are you gonna see Franklin truly freaking out, screaming, losing his shit. He keeps his cool, and I personally think that was a necessity for Franklin. Michael and Trevor were always a walking shit show, and if Franklin was that way too, he would just kind of be uninteresting in my mind. Like, he would just kind of be the same way as the other two, and he wouldn't really stand out in any way. He offers a very nice contrast to his older yet sometime more childish friends, ironically. He always tends to put work and important or dangerous matters before Michael and Trevor's bullshit arguments, which is shown especially in the big one and its subtle approach. Just as Michael and Trevor start bitching at each other, Franklin tells them to work first and then bicker later, which all happens mere seconds before Merryweather shows up and starts a massive shootout. Another thing that I want to touch upon is that while some people perceive Franklin as bland, others may find him even relatable. Out of the three, he definitely, in my mind too, is the most relatable, or he's most identifiable with whatever word you want to use. He's a young dude trying to make it through life, making not the best choices, but ultimately he's just trying to find his place in this world and trying to make the most out of the opportunities that he's been given through life. He's not perfect, but he's doing his best, which is far more comparable to the average person, although the story is greatly exaggerated and whatnot for entertainment purposes, but he's far more grounded, if that makes sense, especially when you compare him to Michael or Trevor, who's off the fucking charts. Franklin is above all ambitious though. A sentence he himself says to Simeon in the game's second mission perfectly sums him up, and it goes like this: I gotta move forward in my life. It seems like all I do is let other people tell me what to do, and I do it and nothing changes. Franklin's trying to make it out of this petty crime shit by any means that he can, and conveniently so, Michael came into his life and helped him with just that. Another thing that doesn't make him bland, at least in my eyes. Like I said, all this is pretty much my opinion and what I've picked up on the character for the many times that I played this game. In specific, I'm talking about is his struggle towards the end of the game when he has to make that choice. Michael and Franklin have become his friends, and in the end he is asked by the feds and Devin Weston to kill them, and I absolutely love this scene where you can see a rare instance of Franklin genuinely freaking out because he's cornered. He doesn't know what to do, he's freaking out, everyone is on his case, and he goes to Lester to help him find a solution. And on a side note, I always found it pretty fucking hilarious how Franklin goes to Lester like, yo, you know everything, dude, please help me out. And Lester goes, yeah, you're fucked, every single one of us is fucked, I don't know what to tell you, dude. However, in the end, despite his ambitions, he shows everyone that he's no backstabber and no traitor, and that he will stand by his friends even in tough times, while keeping his usual cool, calm, and collected attitude when a lot of dangerous and annoying dudes are crawling up his ass. And that definitely is my personal favorite trait of Franklin, and I can confidently say that he is a lot more than a blank slate, but rather he's a pragmatic and collected person, going back to that strong contrast between him and his older partners in crime. In conclusion though, Franklin as a character was never meant to steal the show from anyone. Instead, he was supposed to be the calm and collected anchor of the group, kind of holding things together in a sense, especially in tough times like it is towards the end of the game, while he himself also tries to make the best of his life. And I can confidently say that at the end of this video, after talking about this, even if it's only to a microphone for now as I'm recording this, I think that Franklin is the character that was specifically made to resemble us as the audience far closer than the other two. And with that said, I want to thank you for watching this video. This has been probably one of my favorite topics that I covered in a while. Leave your thoughts and opinions on this topic in the comments down below. Do you guys agree with me? Do you not? Do you think Franklin's a blank slate? Or do you think that there's a lot more to him like I do? I can't wait to read all of your thoughts in the comments, and even though I may not reply to all of them because yeah, there's getting to be a lot of comments, which I'm really happy about. I'm so happy for the engagement that I get on these videos, but I do make sure to read every single one of your guys' comments, and I do my best to have none of them go unnoticed, which is still not that hard to do as I don't get that many comments. But until the next video or stream, bye bye.